Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to Thailand. Welcome back. Hey, how you feeling? Hey, what's it got? I'm feeling amazing. Champions again. Champions again. Champions again. Ole ole. Champions again. Ole ole. Champions again. Ole ole. Champions again. Champions again. Champions again. Ole ole. Should have put that banner the opposite way around. You could have seen it. How you feeling, guys? What's good? Tulu Thai here from Thailand, and yeah, for instance, wow, we've done it again, City, haven't we? You know, how do you feel? Are you feeling good? And it's yeah. To me, I'm just over the moon by it. Just delighted. What's it called about the result? And although they panned out really, what's it called? For instance, yeah, it wasn't too much stress. I know when what's it called West Ham scored, for instance, there was a lot of for instance, blah, 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 but I think that's just typical City fans. And at half time, I was listening to LB's channel, and there was a lot of people, Haaland, I thought, oh God, give us a break, and we get enough crap from what's it called from other channels, etc. We don't need it from our own supporters about our own players. Anyway, but no, so absolutely fantastic. Excuse me. Usual water. Anyway, so if you don't know me, my name's Peter. What's it called? Peter James. What's it called? I'm Drew Thai. For instance, who lives in Thailand. For instance, don't know why I did that. Last thing I am, in fact. For instance, and I live in Thailand, etc. I'm Mancunian. And for instance, I love talking about Manchester City. I was born in the area. For instance, raised in the area. Then we moved to Stockport, and for instance, but I live in Thailand now. I just love my football club. Basically, the only thing I miss about the UK. And but I live in this. I would say this lovely climate at the moment. But I don't know. What's going on again? I would like to have done this outside, but unfortunately, it's cloudy and raining and blah blah blah. And because the monsoon season is well and truly upon us, or the rainy season, the monsoon season. And yeah, for instance, we had a bit of a tragedy. For instance, on a flight, Singapore flight, etc., which gives you an idea, for instance, of the thunderstorms. For instance, when they arrive in Thailand, etc., they're very bad. And what's it called? Biblical. I mean, I had massively biblical thunderstorms so far, but I think it rained all night. But do you know when it doesn't rain? When I go exercising, when I go running, for instance, which I love the run, the what's it called, the rain. My Thai lady, for instance, thinks I'm stupid to go running in the rain, which is, and I said to her, I said, listen, it's good to go running in the rain, for instance. And for instance, went out today, for instance, and went out from a 20-kilometer run, went to swim and yoga. And what's it called? It was raining all night. And when did it clear up? When I went running. When did it rain again? When I came back and put the washing out. Yeah, exactly. So, for instance, that's it. But it's been cloudy. So I've had a bit of sun this morning, except while I was out. And then since I come back, yeah, nothing. I was actually out a couple of days ago, for instance, and because I do it every second day. And I went out while I was out. For instance, I was doing the yoga at the top of Jomtien Beach in Jomtien. For instance, I was watching this. For instance, again, for instance, it was lovely and sunny. It was raining the day just before I went out, and then it came out beautiful and sunny. And then, for instance, yeah, and then for instance, when I was at the top of Mount Jomtien, so I was doing my yoga. Went to do it up there, for instance, nice and peace and quiet. And for instance, while I was up there, for instance, I saw a rain cloud over at Rayon, and towards that that area, which is just down further south, but the bay goes around. And so I saw this rain cloud and thunderstorms and everything like that. And I thought, whoa, it's coming over to me. I'm going to get a dousing. And guess what? Just went that way and disappeared. Don't know. I actually went out swimming towards it as well, like that. And it was really, really calm where I was. And as soon as I got towards it, etc., the waves really went up and down. So, but that was a lot of fun. Anyway, but that's it. That's me. Adventurous kind of guy. Yeah, so for instance, just got this up here for a few few minutes while I'm just talking to you, and my is probably going to fall down. I've got two of them. I've got one hanging on the road on the mosquito door, for instance, and I'm going to hang this outside. I've got my Man City flags hanging up outside. The Thais don't got a clue what I'm doing or what's happened or blah blah blah. I'm just going to keep them up until after the FA Cup final, for instance, on Sunday. Saturday, not Sunday. It's the playoff final, semi-final, finals Sunday. Yeah, exactly. When I teach. Anyway, so let's get back to the football. So, for instance, yeah, I feel amazing. Just and so, but I felt amazing. And then, for instance, the next day, for instance, because again, for instance, by the time I've been goes to the game started at 10 o'clock. By the time it finishes. By the time it finishes, etc. For instance, it was talking about in the afternoon, actually in the morning, so I went to bed. My lady, because she's up at work first thing. So what happens is I went to sleep, and then for instance, woke up next morning, for instance, and I turned on on YouTube, for instance, and see what the media was saying about it, about Man City's fantastic victory. And I've never seen so much bitterness, saltiness in my life. 115, 115, 115, 115, 115. It's a farmers league. It's a farmers league. It's a 115. It's for instance, we can't. Nobody can win it, but I'll pet it. It's boring. Man City's made it boring. They play boring football. It's just unbelievable saltiness and bitterness by the fans. Arsenal with a better team, for instance. Yeah, exactly. And City are ruining the football in England. What a load of crap! Crap! You're talking shit. That's what you're doing. Talking absolute shit. And it's jealousy crap, for instance, and there's nothing what stands there. Pep's not the better manager. Ferguson is. Whatever. Or Liverpool were, for instance, or Jose Mourinho, or whatever. Oh, unbelievable. Not Jose Mourinho too much. Wenger, yeah. No, it just kind of really, 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 really annoys me. The saltiness. Mark Gold whatever, Nottingham boy, for instance, I expect it from him, but the rest of the media, for instance, and could call it a farmers league is a joke, for instance, and and there was, I think, a stat was read by a guy, for instance, on the media, for instance, he actually says, how can you call it a farmers league? And he went through all the leagues. He went through how many points did PSG win what do you call it, the French league this year? How many times? What about and he went through the other leagues as well. Okay, so the only the alternative was buying Leverkusen. So it was a goal which caused a massive shock. But other than that, Sarri came for it. And then, for instance, other than that, for instance, it's to call it a farmers league is just pathetic. There were three teams right up till the final day. Well, sorry, two teams up to the final day, a third team all the way through the season, up to about a month before the end, with Liverpool, for instance, and tailing off. But other than that, how the hell can you call that a farmers league? A boring Man City? Well, bloody hell, we're supposed to goddamn win the games. And it's up to your teams to win the games as well, for instance. And if your teams can, whatever, win the games and get the most points, we're getting the same. Oh, well, Man City, Arsenal scored the most. Well, no, they didn't. The goal difference was zero. For instance, Arsenal, for instance, I don't care how many goals, not goals, for instance, wins you've got. At the end of the day, for instance, you were 2 points behind. And as far as I'm concerned, those 2 points, Arsenal, was all the way down to the fact that you bottled it at Manchester City and came for a draw. And Rodri called you out. Rodri, my favourite player, Rodri. Absolutely amazing. I saw an autobiography on him a couple of days ago. What a great player. Oh, absolutely fantastic. To me, I love you, but Rodri to me is the man. And so for instance, and he basically said they didn't have the mentality. And they didn't. Because quite honestly, for instance, they had the mentality. Man City and went on a nine. Said, listen, when we looked in the eyes of Arsenal, and then we would say, right, okay, we need to win all the next 9 games, and we did, because we have the mentality. We have it up here. For instance, where Arsenal didn't, and they screwed up against Villa at home again, another home. And yeah, I don't give a damn how many points you got before, how many were. Spurs were at the top of the goddamn league, so for instance, it doesn't make no difference. It's where you are on the final damn day. And he screwed up Arsenal, and all the way through, oh, Man City's going to lose, whether City's going to drop points. And now they're moaning the fact that Man City didn't drop points. Months ago, you were saying that we're going to drop points, and then well, we haven't dropped points, and oh, it's just saltiness is just unbelievable, and they're coming from United fans. United, God, it's embarrassing there. Well, eighth position, -1 goal difference. How many games did you lose at home this season, United? You're pathetic. What's it called? Oh, we had a lot of injuries. Well, no, not true. It appears that, was it Brentford had the most, Newcastle had the second, for instance, Chelsea had the third, and United were fourth. So, for instance, that was the real truth. So no what's called United. You can't blame that. You just crap. You bought crap. You are crap. You got a shitty stadium, which pisses whatever. For instance, in the whole thing, and you think everything's gonna go right because now you got Sir Jim, whatever. You're gonna be out of it for a long time, mates. So what's called. But in the meantime, you can watch Man City get closer and closer and closer and closer. Oh, well, Pep's going to go. Well, we actually winning trophies before Pep came. We got two. We had three managers, and they all won Premier League trophies. What's it called? Pellegrini, for instance, Italian guy, and I can't remember his name. It was on the tip of my tongue, as well as Pep. So we had three. So we have had three different managers since the takeover, for instance, and we've had 3 different wins. So yeah, to you, Mancini. So yeah, and I think Man City were just going to continue. I hope Michelle from takes over. The media were yapping on about, and I saw that what's it called interview, for instance, with Pep, where he says, for instance, I'm close to leaving the door. Then going, he does this. He's just winding you up. For instance, if he wants to stay, he'll stay. If he's got more to give and to more whatever, he'll stay. For instance, there's rumours about going to New York City. Okay, maybe, possibly. What's the goal? But to sit there and say, you're exclusive, Pep's going to leave just because Klopp left and blah blah blah, and he's got nothing to play for. He'll go away. He'll relax. Like the previous season, for instance, he was, I've got now we won the treble. For instance, he's going to go then. And then they said no, he won't go off and make a contract. But he also turned around and said, well, nobody's done the 4-peak, okay? And he put this lovely, while the guys were at, for instance, international break, in the boot room, it was Haaland said, what's this behind me? Nobody's done the 4th peak yet, okay? And now we've done it. Can we get 5 next season? Yeah, why not? Go for it, let's go for it. And the Champions League, we deserve it. And so for instance, and Man City do not, what's it called, and quality of football they play, what's it called, is just brilliant. The possessions, the how, and they're all copying. They're all, they're bits a lot. They're all copying in their own way. But they're just not as good as City, for instance, and they're not as good because they're not as coached as good. They haven't got the right players with the right mentality. They haven't got the right players, for instance, who for the right, City just don't buy players. They research into players. So no, I'm sorry, I'm not having any of this argument, and people need to sort of and stop being so bitter, stop being so moaning about your own damn clubs, and stop saying why Manchester City have done what we've done. It's because we're a very good team, and we're a very well run team. And you can go on about the 115. The 115 was prior to 2016. The guys on the pitch were young lads for instance, and they have nothing to do with the 115. It's got nothing to do with it. For instance, and in Coventry's had nothing to do with it. For instance, Phil Bowden, Kevin De Bruyne, for instance, Erling Haaland got nothing to do with it. Sorry, what's it called? Some United fans saying today, what's it called? Man City don't spend as much now because they bought loads, millions before. No, it didn't. It is absolutely pathetic. The arguments coming in, and it's just saltiness. It really is. It's just, I mean, rather than actually, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, rather than blaming Manchester City for your problems, right? Look at your team. Look at your manager. Look at your players, right? Rashford at United, Wayne, Darwin Núñez, Liverpool. For instance, why you didn't score, why you didn't win, why you choked when you didn't. Why did you come to the Etihad and go for and praise a draw? What's it called? Because once Man City realised that you were coming for a draw, they went, they haven't got the mentality to beat us. Boom. And we're not surrendering our title to these bottlers, and we did, and now we're champions again. And what's it called? And it's brilliant. And and I got no complaints. For instance, it was a lovely day. It's a good lovely day by all, by the looks of it. The City fans were just out in force. Sunny, lovely, sunny, beautiful, blue and white day for Manchester. So yeah, and so everybody was having a really, really wonderful time. And the guys on the pitch, I love the what's it called? Where the guys, for instance, gave the trophy to the newbies, Nunes, Kolarov, not Kolarov, I was thinking Kolarov, Kovacic, and Guardiola, and said, "Listen, go ahead," because they've never won it before. So yeah, it's brilliant. What's it called? It's great team spirit Man City's got. Another thing, a lot of these teams don't have team spirit, and the love for each other, for instance, and how Grealish was bigging up Kovacic, and for instance, how Doku, that was an interesting interview he did, saying how the fact that he was, for instance, he said, what's the difference? And this was from a different broadcaster, for instance, than who spoke to Rodri. So, for instance, and he was asked, about the about Manchester City, the squad, and he said, "Oh, it's all about the mentality." And he said, "I never had it before, Segovia, because I never had it in previous clubs that he's played for. But for instance, I've got it now. Whatever, got it now, and I'm going to take it with me. What's it go to when he goes to France and he plays the national team?" So, for instance, he's got that mentality, for instance, and about winning. And that's what Manchester City are. They're just a mentality monsters. They are the guys, for instance, who are very clued into knowing what they're doing. Yes, they got Pep Guardiola around them, but we've also got a great support staff around them. Once they go to cut all the nonsense out. So the only thing they need to focus on is football. Okay, and they do it well. So, for instance, and and you get the help, and wonderful. Yes, Pep plays a massive part. Big up to Pep. Winning another player manager of the season. Pep, what's his Phil getting the player this season plus sports writers, and Bunny Shaw, she got hers, and well deserved. Unfortunately, got injured, and so the ladies missed out. But also, for instance, who we're looking at, and Erling Haaland, our League Two striker, got another Golden Boot, two. In Mr. Another bitter United ex-United player. Um, what's it called? Roy Keane, and this is the thing, and I think there's things. I was thinking a while ago, for instance, and I've been thinking this for a while, and I do believe, for instance, with a lot of teams now, for instance, a lot of teams now, for instance, are no, it's not a lot of teams, a lot of broadcasters now, for instance, I really need to shake things up a little bit. They've had the same lot in for a long time. Danny Murphy at Talk Sport. You've got Souness as well, for instance, who's getting salty. You've got for instance, you've got Neville and Carragher, for instance, who's salty. You've got for instance. You must go to Talk Sport again. They've already got the 10 Man United presenters they've got. They've also got a lot of guys who come in, for instance, and who are bitter, for instance, and old players who've had their day, who don't understand about football. Because Rodri's comment about mentality was dished by the morning show on Talk Sport. For instance, what was his name? Some big fat guy, what's it called, and who's played the game years ago. And I think no, they don't understand the game as much as they do. For instance, to me, I'm from 60s, 70s era. For instance, 80s, that kind of thing. So, for instance, but yeah, things have changed, and and you've got to change with it. And I think these guys are still doing the same old nonsense, or planning out the same old nonsense, and there's still loyalties to the same old nonsense with what they had before. So it's and this is it with them. And I just, for instance, when you go now, when I listen to now, I go into a lot of the YouTubers now. For instance, a lot of them I can discount, especially the bitters. But when I listen to the City guys, for instance, and they're not Man City are quite humble. For instance, and, LB, Hugh, Big Steve, and for instance, they're not. And for instance, ECG, typical City, they're not arrogant, and but they do say what it's all about, for instance, and it's very truthful. So, and I listen to a lot of these guys now, for instance, and I just think they've got their own agenda, and they've got their own very outdated ideas of for instance, and so for instance, and what's it called, and for instance, of what football is all about now. I think football's moved on, but Talksport, Sky News, TNT, blah blah blah, whatever, they've all got the same old guys. For instance, I think representing My City was Mackie Richards, Anua, and that's about it. And so for instance, which is a shame. It's not nice. For instance, we're not representative in the way what we are. So what's it called, and we have to constantly listen to, and their views, which are bitter views, which gets broadcast throughout the UK, the world, and listening to bitter people, for instance, and it only emphasises and says to the bitters, like, oh well, for instance, it only gives them more. Yeah. Well, I was listening to Talksport today, blah blah blah. I was listening to whatever, but they don't realise these guys got their own agendas. And was it Simon Keogh and all the way through it was about Arsenal. Whatever. I was listening to Sky Sports, for instance, and Merson, for instance, was asked player of the season with his mates who he does the Saturday show with, and Declan Rice. Everybody went for Rodri. He went for Declan Rice. Phil Foden. Everybody went for Declan Rice. And it was another one. He picked another Arsenal player, for instance, where it was and so for instance, and again, they've got their own agendas, and it's the bitterness, and they're not going to be happy because when the teams lose, and the saltiness comes out, and it really does. And it's really upsetting, really, because you're looking for a journalist, for instance, who's going to be tell you the truth and tell you how it is, and all you got is this saltiness. So, for instance, and and it just really upsets me, really, when I have to constantly listen to it, and it just bothers me. Anyway, so for instance, but now, for instance, I shouldn't really be focused on this. I should be sat there talking and be really happy with you guys and City fans, and say, well, I've got Wembley coming up. We've got a cup final against the odd mob. For instance, what's it called on Saturday? Which I'm looking forward to. But honestly, I'm really, really pleased for the guys. I really thought for instance, keeping it all going after the the rain's kicking in. It's just starting. You can hear it. And after the I was watching it as well. For instance, after the for instance, after the treble winning season, Man City's not gonna be falling off. They're not gonna be as focused. But yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are, and we're showing them that, for instance, the guys do have the fight of everything. So yeah, and anyway, I've got to get going. I've got a shop watching out the road, so the rain's started. Anyway, so I'm gonna get going. So I'll speak to you FA Cup preview. Champions again. Well done, say. I gotta fly. Take care, guys. See you.